that are anti-wind. Okay? I do not want, personally, and I do not want to see this board, the planning board, anybody else become part of that divide. Okay, we're all a community here regardless of what happens in the end. You know, we're all still gonna be neighbors, friendly with one another. You know, we're all gonna still live in the same community. The board, I can tell you right now, we're waiting for the planning board to come back with their recommendations. From what people have seen from their meetings, the planning board's meetings so far, I think we're doing a pretty good job because the pro-wind people aren't happy with it and the anti-wind people aren't happy with it. That tells me we're riding right down the middle and we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. I understand there's a lot of people here tonight, okay? Pro-wind, anti-wind. If you folks would maybe pick somebody, if you want to tell us what you've brought to us tonight in your packets and your information that you've brought to us, to tell us that. We don't need to hear it from every single person in this room, okay? We all have families and dinner waiting for us sometime later tonight too, so we would appreciate being able to get to. And sir, if you talk to me after the meeting, I will hook you up with a code enforcement officer so we can start addressing your issue, okay? Okay. Who would like to say something? Gary?
Just a quick request, would you please consider a special board meeting ASAP? I think it's imperative that you have a board meeting, particularly in light of the notice tonight in the North Country Now magazine that Avangrid plans to submit their preliminary scoping statement May 1st. That only gives you 21 days to respond locally to the submission. That's, well, your next meeting is well after that. So please consider that, and I strongly would request that you consider a moratorium ASAP. Get the process started, as Will mentioned. It's imperative. If you don't have a moratorium, everything is dead in the water. This scoping statement starts the process into high gear, and you need desperately to look at a moratorium, and by doing a special meeting as soon as you can, I think would be very beneficial.
Gary, what was the date that you said that said in the paper? For the
May
filing?
1st. May 1st.
On or about May 1st.
Right, anybody else have something they'd like to say? Luke, I know you wanted to tell me what you have in your package.
Yeah. Okay, I've brought you a letter from, Luke Daly, Chapel Hill Road. I brought you a letter from Curtin Law Firm. Our attorney has given you good reasons to do a moratorium and do it very, very soon. If the preliminary scoping statement is submitted to the state, they are operating on the existing laws, which don't really address the size and number of wind turbines that we're looking at now. So I'm hoping that everybody on the board will read that, and I'm hoping that, as the other two people have said, we need a moratorium, we need it soon to protect everybody, not just some of us. In your packet are a few things to try to help back that up. One is a list of the people who have signed moratoriums and pilot petitions as of yesterday. One of them is a Chateaugay, New York report card telling how things operate over there. One is a map that we found on the NYSERDA website that shows that certain parts of the state have been targeted, and that's what I call it, for wind development. Another one's a resolution that supports home rule. I think all of you should, would agree that our towns should have the right to decide our futures instead of bureaucrats from Albany. Our only representation on these Article 10 boards are 2 representatives from our area, and they don't get a vote. And so that's something I think all of us should come together on and demand that we have more say in these. And our town board tonight could throw in with the New York Association of Towns for that. And your town supervisor is here, and I think we've given them that information before. There's another one, will changes to local wind laws remove noise and setback protections for your home or camp? There was a suggestion from Avangrid that camps not be considered residences. We think that's really unfair. Some of our homes would probably qualify as a camp, and I think that no matter how modest a home you live in, that you should have the same rights as someone with a more upscale place. Jefferson County could learn from the tax break for Madison Wind Farm. They were given a pilot position, a payment in lieu of taxes down in Madison County, and then when their pilot expired, they didn't want to pay the regular taxes. They got the tax break for 10 years, and then they didn't want to pay real taxes. There's a thing about Maple Ridge Wind Farm, where when their roads weren't able to handle the traffic to build the turbines, 31-foot wide cranes to bring it in. Well, the 16-foot wide roads became 32 feet wide. Some of us really like the maple trees over our roads, and some of us depend on it or just enjoy carrying on the traditional art of making maple syrup, and that would really wipe out a lot of maple trees perhaps. Roadside trees, as you know, are the best. Herkimer County residents sue Iberdrola over wind farm. They had noise setback, they had noise limits on theirs, and it was found 72 decibels. 72 decibels when they measured some of those turbines. And they're the exact same turbines that are recommended for here. Gamesa, 476 feet tall. And I think this is, we're not against our neighbors. We want everybody to be protected. Another one, town council reviews 3 sets of wind law revisions. They found in other places where turbines have come in that noise is the issue. Noise, vibration, and not noise you can hear all the time. There's low stuff that really affects some people. We're not making up these stories. We have stories from Michigan, Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Ontario, where too quick they've moved into wind and then they've regretted it. And we're not trying to beat anybody over the head. We're just giving out information. And then there's places that have 1 mile setbacks to protect their homes and their schools. There's wind turbine noise complaint predictions made easy from a sound acoustic engineer, and we have most of that information out here. You can take it, you can read it, you can learn. And then the final one is noise components that somebody gave us, which is a very simplified look at decibel levels and sound. Thank you, and yeah, I think the most important thing is that we not get into fussing and fighting, that we work together and protect everybody in Hopkinton and Parishville, and have a, okay, thank you.
Hold on 1 second. Mr. Richards is out there somewhere. I know you brought us up some material. Did you want to tell us what's in your package this evening? Yes. There you are, back there in the corner.
You want to tell us what was in the package? Do you remember?
Who put your stuff together, Tim? Who put your stuff together?
Yes. Put his stuff together.
Oh, okay. We have some wind people here tonight. Does somebody want to tell us what's together?
Unbelievable.
Sure. Scott McDonald, Avangrid. What we did is we put together a package that supported, showed the science-based information that actually was just highlighted here just a second ago. So we have information on sound, infrasound, we have information on real property, we have information on health and safety. We also have a section that the landowners, one thing of its concern is that the understanding of Article 10, so that's addressed as well.
Thank you. All right, now,
Just want to point out, in the letter I gave you, I called Paul Agresta's office. Unlike some things in Albany, you get a real person when you call that number, and so on that letter is the number. You get a real person, and you can get your questions answered. I was at the meeting where the moratorium was discussed, and it seems like the board had a lot of questions and concerns that the siting board will just overrule local law. So I highly, highly suggest that you look at what I put in the letter that I received from that office, but also call that number. I wasn't even put on hold. I immediately got a person, so you don't have to worry about having a long time set aside to get your answers. So the number is right there, and please call and get the answers for yourself.
Could I have a couple minutes? Like less time than Luke? I'm speaking on my own here. I'm not speaking for a
your
group.
name, sir?
My name is Tom Whitesell. I live right over there in Potsdam. I'm not speaking for a group because I might get it wrong. There is a group, Concerned Citizens for Rural Preservation, at this point consisting of about 50 members who are making an ongoing concerted effort to inform all the residents of Parishville and Hopkinton about the real ramifications of turning these towns into a 500-foot tall industrial wind energy plant, as has happened in Chateaugay and all over northern Clinton County. I believe the first responsibility of public officials is to protect the health and safety as well as financial and property interests of their constituents. This group, Concerned Citizens, is actively, on their own time, with no financial incentive, providing as many people as possible with documented, researched information about life with industrial wind turbines, real-life experiences from all over the world, the country, and New York State, scientific research and statements from highest-level professionals in acoustics, human physiology, and so on. About 6 years ago, Parishville's and Hopkinton's town boards were handed over 2,000 pages of documentation on the realities of industrial wind farms, which should still be here on record with the town. Since that time, there's been an endless stream of accurate, meaningful material, research, data, all publicly available, which needs to be taken into account in making decisions about allowing an enormous foreign corporation the privilege of transforming the community here into a 500-foot tall power plant. Surveys have been distributed, the results tallied, looking for public opinion about this. I understand that now one of the leaseholders is starting a petition in support of this industrial wind project going through. I think that no matter how the numbers stack up, the first priority here should be the health and safety of the residents and protecting their natural human rights to live in peace, protect their children, and enjoy such life as is available in the beautiful North Country. While I started out saying that I'm not speaking for anyone else, I have brought over 430 people here with me. I now present Parishville's town officials with over 430 signed petitions requesting the town declare a moratorium on this wind project. 430 signatures and contact information in hard copy to be entered into the public record. These people have been informing themselves, they understand, and they demand their rights. The first thing is to declare a moratorium so that there's time to iron out an effective wind law and to help ensure that more of the residents can be properly informed. For one or two officials to believe that a moratorium will serve no purpose or will be denied by the state is denying the residents their rights to stand up for themselves. There is no proof that a moratorium will not stand. There is recent historical evidence in New York State that a moratorium can be put into effect, and the people ask, at least these 430, that a moratorium take precedence over other discussion.
Anything else that we have not heard already?
Yeah. Not having to wait. Does anybody, how many people was in this place, or was alive and was in Parishville back in about 1954, 53, somewhere in that neighborhood?
I'm out, right?
You're right. A lot of them, and everybody else out, but I'm not out. I worked on it. And you think that the Rocky Rivers went through up there and didn't have somebody crying about it when them dams went up through 5, 6 dams down through there? Do you think the Seaway went through and nobody complained about that? Well, now I'm telling you something, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen here sooner or later. I hope I won't be around, but you have got some young girls and kids around here that's gonna be here, I hope. And you're gonna see the state of New York and the federal government come in here and set right up and come up through and say, hey, okay, boys, we're gonna have all windmills up through here or certain similar things. And because it did, and I worked in the Seaway, and I worked on the Kerry Falls Dam. There was all kinds of employees and everybody, oh, you had people up there. They was cutting trees. We cut acres and acres and acres and acres. And everybody hollered about it. But it still went through, didn't it? You better believe it. Putman Holly got the job out of West Parishville. And I want to tell you something, on the Seaway, I cut every light pole from Waddington right down into Messina. Now the only problem that I got right in here now is I say that there is people that's looking up after our waste and our stuff like that. I fell every light pole, and you imagine where the oil and stuff flew out of them transformers and stuff? You know where it went? Well, right into the ground. So now, people are working on things like that, and I think it's great, because I knew we was doing wrong when we was doing it, but I wanted the boss. I was working for, well, Gaines and Sherman at that time. And if you people think you're going to stop these windmills, you can stop them tonight. I'm not knocking that. But you're not going to stop them in a little while down the road, in which I say, these little girls, kids I see running around